Hello, good morning. Hello. This is my way taking seriously my first, I was looking on the first slide of this conference. No other contribution, but I'll start by gathering. So, good morning. My name is Gili Drori. Those who I have not yet met, I'm the dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, which is the home for the Glocal Program, which is the home for organizing this conference, this workshop. And I stand here therefore to welcome you on behalf of the Faculty of Social Sciences. To those of you who are visitors, the Faculty of Social Sciences is the academic unit for 13 disciplinary programs, and therefore we see ourselves as indeed the base for a conversation, such as the one we're here today on this issue of climate-induced migration. Because if there was ever a doubt that we're grand challenges, when we today think of the grand challenges that face human society worldwide, then indeed this juncture of the natural world and the social world calls upon us to bring this multitude of disciplines, this multitude of perspectives to think about the climate-induced migration. So I applaud you for choosing this theme for our conversation today and for gathering this researchers to discuss it. I thank the local team and our team from the faculty for organizing it, and thank you very much for this evening, for organizing, for leading, for conceiving this gathering, and our distinguished guests for giving it to you. I wish us all the most engaging and interesting discussions. Thank you for coming.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much for giving for meetings and support, and many thanks to the colleagues who is saying that we wouldn't see her, but she is on Zoom with us. So thank you to those for enabling this conference and generally being invited to course of the local program, the spirit of the program. I also like to welcome Professor Orit, our distinguished guest and keynote speaker. And also thank you to all of the speakers today. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. I'm a sociologist, faculty member here at the Department of Internationalization staff local program development. I also want to thank our two co-sponsors and partners for organizing this conference, the Global Institute for Environmental Studies, especially the Global Health Planet, who is doing this in Power 2, and his Institute's Executive Director, and the Davis Institute for International Relations, and Professor Adam Matan, head of the Davis Institute for their support. Special thanks to Orit Gazit, who was part of the planning of this conference from its very initial stages. And last but not least, many thanks to the students of local development track, to our dedicated local staff, Sharon and Buzz, and Marcy Carlson and Kai Cox, our student, who is also taking active part in organizing this day. And a special thank you to Scott Weiss on the computers, who's live streaming this conference and generally is Then I'd like to begin with a very brief framing of our topic for today, and we will continue directly to the first panel. So 3 points, very brief. First, in recent years, there's a growing interest among scientists, both climate scientists and social scientists, and policymakers and NGO activists and others in the phenomenon of environmental migration. In this respect, for future climate refugees, this topic has not yet been addressed in a holistic, multidisciplinary manner in the Israeli context. In the world, however, as part of this growing interest or rapidly growing body of research has evolved. It's already developing in the past decades, particularly since the turn of the millennium, when climate change received renewed attention in political and academic circles. These recent studies address the phenomena of environmental migration from various perspectives and research methods, ranging from quantitative models of economics, legal studies, political science, geography, development studies, and up to graphic, critical, sociological, and historical works, and also researchers coming from anthropology and cultural studies to this issue. Now, if we attempt to basically demarcate our subject matter for today, we could begin by looking at environmental migration as a phenomenon in the world, and in this respect is as old as the history of humankind, as an array of groups and individuals were always on the move due to environmental circumstances. But we could argue that in the past decades, rising sea levels, desertification, deforestation, and extreme weather events already cause and will catalyze in the future the mobility of mostly vulnerable populations coming from mostly, though not solely, from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East to Western or developed countries. So this is in the most basic descriptive sense. However, and this is my second point, this is about where in the academic sense, this is all that is about. And when we take a closer look, we discover that environmental migration is in fact a highly contested concept in various ways, and I'll mention only a few. First, since climate change is rarely the only reason for why people migrate, and there's a variety of influence of factors, migration-inducing factors, that make it difficult to determine whether a particular migration decision is voluntary or forced, what kind of combination of drivers and factors, environmental or otherwise, compels this decision, and whether the decision remains temporary or becomes permanent. Second, rather than simply focusing on livelihood opportunities or their lack, the current understanding of the consequences of environmental degradation has expanded to include environment's effects on safety, on human rights, on the quality of life, community, and rights of self-preservation. There is hence a complexity of interactions between environmental change and mobility, which in turn also intersect with social difference, for example, gender, class, race, and other categories. And this without even touching upon the large debate regarding the numbers of current environmental migrants and future environmental migrants, and without discussing the legal aspects, since while climate refugees is a popular term, this term stands at odds with the UN 1951 Refugee Convention that currently, though there have been some changes in recent years, it still does not acknowledge climate-induced migration as a category. So climate refugees is generally a popular term, but it does not exist in reality in that respect. And third, and perhaps most significantly, some scholars, such as Andrew Baldwin, Giovanni Bettini, and others, argue that the climate refugee, more than a concrete figure, is a social and political constant. And it is used and manipulated, securitized within Western discourses as the other of climate change, the human face of a particular historical moment of the Anthropocene, the era in which it became in itself a geological force shaping our planet. And they argue that climate change calls into question the fundamental vision of the Enlightenment
regarding the human ability to control the environment, or following involvement in the very tenets of humanism. And so, in brief, the third factor that complicates any attempt to study environmental migration is the critical argument that when we study environmental migrants, we reproduce political, social, this initial framing of our conference for today has to do with demarcating some of the major questions that we would like to raise and perhaps discuss here together today. The first one has to do with what to ask: what are the possible relations between environmental migration, urbanization, and conflict? And between environmental migration and development processes, perhaps Kobe will touch upon some of these aspects in her talk. And from a different perspective, at the end of our conference, perhaps our guest, Asman, will shed light on how he experienced the relations between environment and conflict in the Napoleon context, and sharing with us his migration story. The second question has to do with the role of intersectionality, the role of socio-economic, cultural, genderial, ethno-national, religious, political, and other factors and processes in shaping environmental mobility and e-mobility, by the way, since this is another significant aspect. Often, despite climate events, groups of people, communities decide not to migrate, despite the danger. And this choice in the process is no less significant to understanding the phenomenon of environmental migration than those to migrate. Perhaps Tal Nitzan and Anat Rosenthal here will discuss some of these intersecting factors in their talks. And third, the political philosophy question of the relations between environmental displacement and climate justice or environmental injustice, which will touch on various perspectives. This talk with Professor Eritrean. And finally, we would like to ask, what are some of the possible arrangements, regional and other arrangements that can serve as a means to address some of the challenges that environmental migration in large numbers may pose? Mohammed of the Alliance will address regional cooperation in the Middle Eastern context in this respect. So these were my three framing points, just kind of to create a shared framework for discussion throughout the day. And we now turn to our first panel. The speakers will talk for some 15 minutes or so, and then we will open the floor for questions and discussion.